Top 10 gemstones that redefine modern luxury. Silence, a breath. Then darkness softens into mineral light, veins of ancient earth glowing like distant constellations. Luxury was once loud. Crowns, chandeliers, roaring courts, glitter made to blind. Value performed, bright, bold, desperate to be witnessed. But time shifts taste, empires fade, and a new age rises, not powered by display, but by discernment. Today, the most coveted treasures do not scream wealth. They whisper origin. Geological miracles, sculpted in pressure and patience. Stones chosen not for marketing, but for meaning. These are gems carried in private, studied in quiet rooms, offered in velvet silence rather than spotlight. Collected by those who prefer understanding to applause, and prestige measured not in carats, but in comprehension. This is not a story about shine. It is a story about subtlety, about rarity that refuses crowds, about beauty that rewards attention, not vanity. Luxury is evolving, and those who follow shimmer will miss where value truly lives. Tonight we descend into earth and time, where gemstone is not ornament, but philosophy. Prepare to witness 10 stones that are not worn to be seen, but kept to be understood. Ranked 10th, Paraíba Tourmaline, where lightning learns to breathe. Not black, deep ocean blue, a slow current, a hum, then a fracture of light, spreading like nerve fire through stone. Suddenly the world glows from within. Before 1989, humanity had never seen this color inside the earth. Blue existed, cyan existed, turquoise existed. But this was current, as if thunder had liquefied and chosen a body of crystal. The hilltops of Paraíba, Brazil, were dusty, quiet, anonymous. Miners dug pegmatite veins for decades without prophecy. Then one day a tunnel deep in the iron-rich hill yawned open, and something impossible flickered in a miner's hand. Paraíba Tourmaline forms only when nature performs a precision feat. Pegmatites starved of oxygen, pressure kissing the edge of surrender, and traces of copper and manganese trapped in crystal lattice like lightning bottled mid-strike. Copper, normally the bloodline of patina and metal fatigue, here becomes electric plasma suspended in silicate, shifting from Caribbean surf to rare Arctic neon, a hue neither ocean nor sky has yet claimed. Viewed under UV, the gem does not merely glow, it breathes like bioluminescent tide under moonlight, a color that feels alive enough to speak, yet fragile enough to disappear if stared at too long. Luxury did not invent rarity, geology did, and geology has a sense for theatrical timing. Local elders named it agua relampago, lightning water, not seen as a jewel but as a promise, to clear sight, sharpen truth, burn away deception. In Afro-Brazilian ritual tradition, blue stones carry connotations of oath and clarity. They are not ornaments, they are guardians of honesty, placed in pockets of travelers, rubbed before confessions, held quietly during vows whispered in candlelit chapels. Later, Japanese collectors nicknamed it the soul current. French dealers called it le bleu qui n'existe pas, the blue that should not exist. Cultures thousands of miles apart invented different languages for the same emotion. Wonder sharpened into devotion. Market, a rarity that decided its own fate. Modern markets attempt logic, supply curves, demand curves, price history. Paraíba Tourmaline obeys none. The original mines whispered open, then fell silent in mere years. Today, true specimens emerge rarely. Single veins exhausted, old tunnels collapsing back into earth like wolves returning to forest. Collectors do not discuss Paraíba publicly. Transactions unfold in private salons, hushed galleries, digitally blurred auctions where provenance is verified by whisper. Value in this realm is not currency. It is permission to witness. A carat price is a rumor. The actual figure is a boundary. The wealthy do not brag about Paraíba. They protect it, like memory, like myth. Some stones are luxury by price. This one is luxury by miracle. Paraíba Tourmaline is not rare because few exist. It is rare because the earth almost never chose this experiment, and because it may never choose it again. When held to light, its glow is not brilliance. It is origin, a reminder that lightning once passed through darkness, and in a single geological breath, the world received a color it had never seen before, and will spend centuries trying to see again. Silence. A soft exhale. A single turquoise spark remains. Transition to next gem. Kashmir Sapphire. From tropical voltage to frozen royalty. From a stone born in sudden flame to one carved by glaciers, silence, and exile. A snow-laden wind rises. Blue becomes colder. Mountains emerge through haze. History waits in the valley. Ranked ninth. Kashmir Sapphire. Blue born in silence. Mist drifts across razor peaks. A sky so blue it appears carved, not painted. Silence. Complete, ancient, sovereign. Luxury often begins with conquest, but here, wealth begins with absence, with a valley hidden above the tree line, where snow quiets even memory. In the late 1800s, a landslide tore open a secret high in the Zanskar Range. Inside, veins of corundum lay frozen in metamorphic marble. Their blue unlike anything Earth had offered before. Not sapphire, but sky made solid. The Maharaja of Kashmir sent guards, soldiers, servants, mules laden with silk tents and silver utensils. Yet no court ever looked so humble before a mountain's will. They worked in blizzards, in thin air, in reverence, as if mining heaven required humility. Kashmir Sapphire owes its tone not to heat or pressure alone, but to glacial isolation and iron-poor alpine marble. Eons of metamorphism stripped impurities, leaving a hue between midnight and snowfall. Soft, velvety, diffuse like clouded dawn. Gemologists speak of sleepy blue, a glow as if each crystal swallowed windlight from the Himalayas. Other sapphires sparkle. Kashmir breathes. In ancient Himalayan belief, blue is not luxury, it is lineage. The color of guardian deities, sky gods, and ancestral watchtowers. Pilgrims carried blue stones for truth and sanctuary, tying threads around sacred peaks where air thins into spirit. Later in Victorian courts, Kashmir sapphire became a symbol not of power seized, but of power inherited quietly. Jewels worn not to impress crowds, but to outlast dynasties. A Maharani is recorded whispering to a jeweler, "Not brilliance, serenity." Even monarchs sought this stone not to flash, but to disappear into composure. The mine slept again by 1930. Avalanches sealed passages, glaciers reclaimed territory. Nature closed the vault it never meant to open. No modern operation has revived it. Today, fewer than a few thousand true Kashmir gems are known, many locked in estates, old sovereign vaults, or museum drawers. Their value does not shout, it waits. Auctions do not describe them as stones, but events. A rare appearance triggers hushed rooms, anonymous bidders, sealed provenance. Modern luxury has many languages: noise, spectacle, branding. Kashmir rejects them all. It rewards those who recognize silence as status, not luster, pedigree, not size, sanctity of origin. In a world obsessed with surfaces, this sapphire values purity of source over public worship, a philosophy now mirrored in new wave collectors choosing geological truth over commercial mythology. Kashmir sapphire is not prized for rarity alone. It is revered because mountains reclaimed it, refusing to feed modern appetite. True luxury does not chase attention, it withdraws, and the world learns to follow in hushed awe. Wind rises, snow drifts across marble slopes. The mind sleeps as it began, in silence, in exile, in a blue the sky remembers but rarely shares. From a blue that walked away from empires to a red that once ruled them unnoticed. A jewel mistaken, then vindicated. Proof that true value can be crowned long before it is understood. Ranked 8th, red Spinel, the royal impostor that became a king. Torchlight glides across royal insignia, gold tarnished by time, velvet frayed from centuries of ceremony, and set into ancient crowns. Rubies they were called. Kings swore by them. Conquerors marched for them. Dynasties rose beneath their glow. Yet history, like gemstones, refracts truth. Many of these rubies were not ruby at all. They were spinel, a gem so noble it wore the title of another for centuries, not in shame, but in silent sovereignty. Luxury has grown louder over time. Logos, spotlights, declarations. But Spinel's story is the opposite. Prestige measured not by applause, but by patience. The Black Prince's ruby, centerpiece of the British imperial state crown. The Timur ruby, gifted between rulers as if nations were chess pieces. Mughal emperors carved prayers onto its flesh, believing red stone could hold divine presence. They treasured it not for a name, but for the way light moved inside it. Flame without smoke, royalty without permission. Spinel did not impersonate Ruby. Ruby borrowed Spinel's throne until science arrived to correct the record. Spinel's beauty does not beg. Its color sits deeper than surface. A saturation carried in magnesium aluminum oxide, hardened in metamorphic crucibles along faulted mountain belts. Burma, Sri Lanka, Tajikistan. Where marble transforms under unimaginable pressure, Spinel blooms from rock like ember through ash. Unlike ruby's internal silk, Spinel's clarity often feels as if the gem were carved from concentrated dusk. Red without noise, luster like quiet flame. In Persian courts, Spinel was called lal, the blood of kings, not blood shed, but blood line, vitality of rule. On the Silk Road, caravans traded it alongside jade and lapis as talisman against treachery. Merchants believed Spinel protected rightful power and unveiled false allegiances. Centuries later, when European mineralogists reclassified it, something fascinating happened. Royalty did not discard Spinel. They refused to remove it from crowns. Truth had shifted, but reverence remained. A lesson in luxury. Some names change. Legacy does not. In modern luxury, loud names once ruled. Brands, traditions, diamond mythology. But today, informed collectors turn their gaze not to the famous, but to the misunderstood. Spinel's ascent began not in boutiques, but in laboratories, auction halls, research journals, whispered connoisseur circles. As science corrected history, collectors corrected markets. Prices climbed not from hype, but from justice. Spinel became the emblem of a new wealth psychology. Knowledge as status, truth as prestige, rarity as identity, and the confidence to adore a gem before marketing campaigns told the world to. Quiet confidence, the currency of modern elites. Red Spinel teaches that luxury is no longer inherited through noise, but through discernment. Once mistaken, now revered, it reminds the world, not every throne is visible, not every emperor needs a crown, and not every priceless gem arrives with applause. Some wait and let history kneel to them in time. Fade. Velvet dissolves to desert wind. Silk road sand drifts. A final glint, not shouting red, but a heartbeat in stone. From a gem corrected by truth to a gem defined by duality. A stone that lives two lives, improves a modern luxury, is not brightness, but transformation. Ranked 7th, Alexandrite. A stone that lives two lives, dawn. A single gem rests in shadow. Green, deep as pine in rain. A breath later, candlelight flickers across it, and the forest vanishes, replaced by royal wine red, warm as blood singing in winter. No cut, no trick, just light, revealing a second self. Among gemstones, brilliance is common, color is abundant. But transformation, that is the rarest luxury on earth. Alexandrite is not admired for a hue. It is revered for a reaction. Proof that beauty can shift, truth can contain duality, and that power lies not in what a thing is, but in what it becomes. Nature rarely gifts contradiction so perfectly. Alexandrite forms when beryl chemistry meets chrysoberyl destiny, under conditions nearly impossible to repeat. Chromium replaces aluminum iron elements, hover but never dominate. Pressure seals the crystal lattice like a secret under daylight. Rich green, like forests at dusk. Under warm flame, imperial plum, red velvet in opera halls. Two worlds, one body. Discovered first in Russia's Ural Mountains, where birch forests whisper and river stones carry old aristocracy in their silence. Geologists call it optical magic metamerism. Collectors call it alchemy. In Russia, it became the stone of the czars, not for wealth, but for identity. A metaphor carved in mineral. Day equals clear judgment, night equals sovereign instinct. A gem for rulers expected to think like scholars and feel like poets. In Eastern mysticism, Alexandrite finders were considered chosen, keepers of dual fate, bridging the seen and unseen. To wear it was not decoration, it was initiation, a mark of those who could sit between realities without breaking. Diamonds glitter, emeralds announce lineage. Alexandrite discerns. Its market is not noisy. No store windows, no mass campaigns, no celebrity saturation. Collectors whisper about it, not because it is hidden, but because knowledge is the barrier of entry. True Russian stones are nearly mythic now. Mines quiet, slopes reclaimed by frost and moss, samples locked in private vaults like forbidden poems. Modern auction rooms treat Alexandrite not as jewelry, but as intellectual property, a thesis in mineral form, proving value belongs to mind before material. Where hype chases spectacle, Alexandrite rewards those who see before light shifts. This is the currency of the new elite: discernment over display, observation over noise, subtlety over certainty. Some gems hold color. This one holds paradox. Alexandrite is a reminder that existence is rarely singular, that a thing can be two things and neither cancels the other. Day and night, forest and wine, steadiness and change. Luxury once declared identity. Now the highest luxury is to contain complexity. As lights dim, the gem returns to deep red, not fading, but choosing a second truth. A final glimmer, like memory shifting form, and the scene falls silent. Not conclusion, continuum. From a stone divided between light and shadow to one that never needed to change to command devotion. If Alexandrite honors transformation, the next gem honors conviction. A stone worshipped not for rarity alone, but for meaning older than empire. Ranked 6th, Imperial Jade. Spiritual luxury, not Western. A single green surface reflects lantern light. It does not flash. It does not beg. Its brilliance is not optical. It is presence. Imperial Jade does not seek attention. It commands allegiance. Where Western luxury often ascends through conquest, this stone rises through virtue, lineage, and spiritual approval. It is not bought. It is granted, first by nature, then by belief, and finally by tradition. Long before diamonds were marketed into monarchy, jade already sat on thrones. It crowned altars. It entered tombs not as decoration, but as soul architecture. Luxury was once measured not by price, but by worthiness. This stone remembers. Jade is not one material, but two destinies: nephrite and jadeite. Only a fraction is jadeite, and an infinitesimal sliver of that becomes imperial jade. Its green comes from trace chromium sealed into interlocking fibrous crystals, so tightly bound that when polished, it glows as if lit from beneath the surface. Not translucence, inner breath. Not shine, life. Geologists call it polycrystalline interlock. Collectors call it a heartbeat turned to stone. Born in Myanmar's misted highlands, shaped by tectonic violence, forged where continental plates grind ancestral mountains into future myth. For centuries in China, jade was not jewelry. It was judgment, carved seals of emperors, burial suits for kings, blades and beads for scholars sworn to ethics. Confucian philosophy calls jade ren, yi, li, ji, humanity, righteousness, ritual, wisdom. It symbolized moral worth, not gold weight power. To possess imperial jade without spiritual integrity was seen as imbalance, a universe offended. Even now, devout families do not own jade. They carry it forward, as if it chooses its custodians. A carved pendant given at adulthood, a bangle blessed for marriage, a stone warmed against the wrist until it remembers a life. Diamonds sparkle. Imperial jade watches. While Western luxury cycles through trend and display, the modern East invests in continuity. Auction houses whisper about pieces unseen for generations, appearing like omens. Collectors travel privately to Hong Kong or Taipei with sealed envelopes and histories, not bids. Imperial Jade's price does not spike. It ascends. New wealth may buy brilliance. Old wealth buys blessing. And today, global luxury shifts toward minimalism, heritage, objects with soul memory. A bracelet may look humble to the untrained eye. To those who understand, it is dynastic power, social code, cultural scholarship, and quiet sovereignty. True imperial jade is never purchased to be worn loudly. It is worn so that life may live through it. This is luxury unbound by markets. Luxury as identity and eternity. Imperial jade does not glitter to be admired. It rests to be respected. Some gems celebrate rarity. This one celebrates worthiness. In a century obsessed with reinvention, Imperial Jade reminds, power without humility is fragile. Beauty without soul is noise. And the greatest luxury is not possession, but belonging to something older than desire. As incense smoke rises, green glows like a silent vow, and the screen fades not to black, but to emerald dusk. From a jade that held empires together to a gem discovered by chance in a canyon. Not tied to dynasty, but to geology's rarest signature in America. Ranked fifth, Benitoite, California's secret blue flame, a field of stars, galaxies suspended in velvet, points of light, crisp, exact, eternal. Then the frame shifts, the universe collapses into the palm of a hand. This is Benitoite, a gemstone so rare the earth chose only one cradle for it, a narrow canyon in California, nearly hidden, like a secret whispered once and never repeated. Where Paraíba burned like lightning and Kashmir breathed like heaven, Benitoite feels like the night sky remembering its beginning. Modern luxury has many faces: ancestry, mysticism, discipline. But here luxury is cosmic curiosity, the awe of holding starlight that geology accidentally shaped. Benitoite forms under conditions so improbable they read like cosmic humor. Boron-rich fluids push through serpentinite crust at temperatures where most minerals shatter, then cool suddenly, like a meteor freezing mid-flight. Its crystal habit? Perfect hexagons. Geometry nature rarely bothers to render with such precision. Under daylight, sapphire blue, clean and deep as alpine glacial lakes. Under UV, a celestial event, violent neon blue fluorescence, like minerals trapped in aurora. Unlike Jade's imperial theology or Spinel's royal correction, Benitoite's mythology is young, American young. No emperors claimed it. No dynasties forged legacy with it. It is a frontier stone, born not to court but to canyon, where early miners carried revolvers and river water, not silk and script. Yet modern reverence rises around it. Scientists, stargazers, metaphysicists, quiet billionaires who collect cosmic symbols. In spiritual circles, it is a gateway stone. Clarity, intuition, the courage to look up and question. Not a relic of the past, a philosophy of becoming. Where Jade says, remember, Benitoite whispers, wonder. There is only one true source, San Benito County. The mine closed, then reopened briefly, then closed again, not from depletion, but from geological humility and logistical exhaustion. Supply is not low. Supply is finite by destiny. In global gem markets, rarity often feels performative. Benitoite's rarity feels ordained. You cannot scale starlight. You cannot mass-produce a cosmic accident. True stones appear quietly in collector circles, sober, unpublicized dealings, private gem labs, academic provenance. No brand campaign will ever make this stone mainstream. Its value is not manufactured scarcity, it is geological singularity. A stone not for those who want to be seen, but for those who want to know. In modern luxury, knowledge is the new inheritance. Benitoite is not loud. It does not demand myth or empire. It simply exists as proof that sometimes the extraordinary hides in places too overlooked to be claimed by kings. It is the quiet surge one feels when a telescope first resolves Saturn's rings, or aurora dances without warning, or a child sees the Milky Way untouched by city light. Luxury here is not wealth displayed, but awe understood. As the gem tilts, blue deepens, stars sharpen, a silent constellation breathes in crystal form. We search the skies for miracles only to discover the universe has already placed one in the bones of a California canyon. Fade to cosmic black. One spark remains, pulsing, deliberate, eternal. From a stone that carries the night sky to one that holds the color of distant seas only explorers ever touched. A gem not discovered by kings but by wanderers who believed the earth still had secrets. Ranked fourth, Grandidierite, emerald and ocean merged. Waves fold against a lonely shoreline. Wind braids salt into the air. Madagascar, where continents once embraced and then drifted apart, leaving a world that feels designed for secrets. In 1902, a mineralogist walking the southern coast bent to brush sand from a glimmer in the rock. It was neither emerald nor aquamarine, but a hue somewhere between seafoam and storm tide. The color of an ocean deciding between calm and power. He named it Grandidierite after the explorer Alfred Grandidier, but the stone never belonged to a name. It belonged to isolation. Some gems rise through empires and palaces. This one rose through solitude. To the untrained eye, it looks like seawater turned to crystal. To mineralogists, it is a marvel of structure. A borosilicate lattice stabilized by magnesium and iron, each atom a vote in a fragile chromatic election. Too little iron, the color fades. Too much, it darkens into obscurity. Only a tiny geological window produces the teal twilight glow that defines true grandidierite. It forms in metamorphic terrains where ancient oceans hardened into earth, a mineral memory of tides older than language. Many stones sparkle. This one whispers depth. Madagascar's spiritual tradition sees the island as a bridge between living breath and ancestral presence. Blue-green stones here symbolize crossing, between worlds, between destinies, between states of becoming. Fishermen once kept ocean-colored pebbles as tokens, not treasure, but permission, as though the sea allowed them safe passage in exchange for respect. Later scholars from Paris and London marveled at its rarity, but locals already saw it as a tide made solid. It was never luxury for display. It was transition made tangible. True gem quality, Grandidierite, is almost mythical. For a century, only fragments surfaced, translucent pebbles that hinted at greatness but withheld revelation. Then quietly, a pocket of transparent material emerged in Madagascar. Not a rush, not a boom, just a slow, respectful unveiling. Like the earth testing whether humanity was worthy of more. Today, collectors speak of it not as a commodity, but as a pilgrimage. Acquisitions happen in hushed conversations, guided by geologists, historians, those who treat minerals as knowledge more than ornament. In a world obsessed with measurability, Grandidierite resists numbers. Price is whispered, not posted. Supply is anecdotal, not charted. Value is not in size or clarity, but in provenance, the story of who sought it and why. True luxury here is curiosity rewarded. Grandidierite is neither ocean nor stone, neither sky nor earth, neither abundant nor extinct. It exists in thresholds, a chromatic meditation on edge and becoming. Luxury once rewarded permanence. Today it reveres rarity and transition. Beauty glimpsed, not seized. As tide breath meets dusk glow, the gem rests in hand like a drop of forgotten sea, as though nature paused mid-thought and left evidence of wonder behind. Not a jewel that declares arrival, but one that honors the journey. Fade to quiet surf. A glimmer remains retreating with the tide. From a gem discovered by wanderers along a forgotten coast to one once called the rarest mineral on earth, where scarcity was not opinion, but measurable fact. And modern luxury learned that true exclusivity is not heritage or heat, but statistical impossibility. Ranked third, Painite. From world's rarest to cult treasure, A single crystal rests beneath museum glass, dark crimson, nearly black, as if saturated with centuries of memory. Not ruby, not garnet, not spinel. Something rarer. So rare, the world once had only two known stones. Painite is the point where geology collides with impossibility. A mineral whose formula confused scientists, whose identity challenged classification, whose scarcity forced language to hesitate. Where most gems rise through legend or commerce, this one rose through absence. Luxury once meant owning more. Painite teaches that the highest luxury is touching what almost didn't exist. Painite is a borate titanate with trace zirconium and rare earth whispers formed in metamorphic folds of Myanmar's Mogok Valley. A crucible so precise that geologists once doubted the chemistry was real. Boron should not find titanium here. Zirconium should not stabilize structure so cleanly. Actinides should not cohabit this lattice peacefully. Yet they did, once. Then the earth stopped trying. Painite's rarity is not myth. It is quantified miracle. For decades after its discovery in the 1950s, no new crystals surfaced. Two specimens defined the species. Collectors whispered, geologists argued, and museums guarded slivers like sacred scripture. When new pockets were eventually found, they were microscopic rebellions, not comfort. Even today, most painite is fragments, grains, memory, the mineral equivalent of starlight echo. Unlike jade or sapphire, painite had no dynasty, no palace history, no temple lore. Instead, it developed something rarer, scientific mystique. Monks near Mogok kept earth talismans from the valley, believing the ground there held stones of vanished fire. Minerals birthed in silence, blessed by disappearance. Later gem scholars wrote about painite with the reverence usually reserved for sacred texts. Slow language, careful hands, like archivists unveiling fragile kingdoms of fact. In an era of abundance and noise, this gem became a symbol of nothingness valued, the prestige of what cannot be repeated. Painite is not a jewelry stone. It is a proof stone, a relic of probability so thin that to hold one is to dispute reality. Its trade is not glamour, it is initiation. Acquisitions take the form of whispered introductions. Academics briefing collectors in private salons. Provenance documents handled like treaties. Diamonds sell in bright rooms. Painite trades in low voices and white gloves. Value here is not sparkle or legend. It is statistical awe. In the hierarchy of modern elite collecting, fashion belongs to diamonds, heritage to emeralds and rubies, philosophy to jade, but existence itself belongs to painite. True specimens do not move markets. They move history. Painite is the opposite of spectacle. It is the luxury of near non-existence. No myth crowned it. No empire celebrated it. Science simply found it, and the universe whispered, once. Among collectors of the quiet future, those who pursue minerals like manuscripts, who choose meaning over recognition, painite represents the purest new wealth code. Prestige is not in owning what others admire, but in holding what the world almost never made. As the frame closes, the gem darkens to near black, glowing only where a single atom catches light. Silence. Then the faintest glint, like the memory of a star that burned only once. From rarity measured by astonishment to rarity measured by evolution, a gem not known by kings or conquest, but by collectors who worship subtlety and understand that modern luxury no longer roars, it whispers. Ranked second, Musgravite. Wealth whispers, not shouts. A soft gray-violet surface, muted, calm, almost mistaken for simplicity, until it isn't. Musgravite does not sparkle for strangers nor seduce the untrained eye. Its beauty is not invitation, it is recognition. Like a silk suit in a room full of glitter, like a name spoken quietly yet rearranging every table around it. Musgravite rules without volume. This is the gemstone of invisible power, a tone so subtle it separates those who want admiration from those who already possess certainty. Born in the remote Musgrave ranges of Australia, then later glimpsed in Greenland, Sri Lanka, Madagascar, always in whispers, never in abundance. Chemically, it is a rare magnesium-rich member of the Thiophite family, shaped by high-temperature metamorphism in the oldest crust on Earth. Where most gems declare themselves, Musgravite hides among mafic rocks in spinel clusters, overlooked until spectroscopy demands respect. Trigonal crystal lattice, trace magnesium plus beryllium cross-binding, refractive personality that glows like dusk on polished titanium, not twilight, not lavender. A spectral neutrality, like if color chose discipline. It does not shout rarity, it refuses replication. No ancient throne claimed Musgravite. No empire inscribed it in crowns. It rose instead in a different court. The laboratories, auction backrooms, private vaults of a world where prestige evolved from spectacle into minimalist reverence. In modern metaphysical interpretation, it is the stone of clarity without drama, power without announcement, identity without performance. The elite do not wear it to be seen. They wear it to be unbothered. In a century where noise is currency, Musgravite became the gem of those who do not compete. For years, the world knew fewer than 10 faceted specimens. Even now, verified stones remain so scarce that markets reference individual crystals, not carat volumes. Painite shocks science with absence. Musgravite seduced connoisseurs through presence that feels optional, and therefore absolute. This is the anti-diamond, the anti-flash, a gemstone aligned with silent wealth academic custody, institutional collecting private acquisition networks. The psychology of those past validation prices do not climb here. They solidify, like principles. To own Musgravite is not to announce taste, it is to transcend explanation. Luxury today is shifting, away from visibility, toward verifiable truth. Away from crowd awe, toward self-assured stillness. Musgravite is the mineral thesis of that cultural pivot. Some gems dazzle, others command. Musgravite does neither. It exists, and that is enough. No myth births it, no dynasty canonized it. Only earth, pressure, time, and the discernment of a few who saw what most walked past. In a world desperate to be seen, Musgravite embodies the rarest desire, to be understood by only those who matter. The stone rests in palm, soft glow, steel calm aura, then darkens to a quiet violet echo like a closing door in a silent marble hall. Fade not to black, but to absence that still feels full. From a gem that mastered restraint to one that refuses simplification entirely. Not a color, but geometry. Not one meaning, but fragments of worlds. A stone where luxury becomes origin, time, and pattern, and where silence is not emptiness, but awe. In first place, Liddicoatite, nature's stained glass geometry. No soundtrack, only breath. A single slice rotates slowly against black, as if the universe suspended movement to watch. A ring, then another. Radial veins, color in concentric philosophy. Strawberry, moss, wine, honey, dusk. Liddicoatite does not glitter, it unfolds. This is not decoration. This is the earth remembering how to draw. Not chaotic color bands, but ordered revelation, triangular zoning, fractal echoes, crystal symmetry, so precise it feels ceremonial. Where most gemstones are about brilliance, Liddicoatite is about structure. Where other stones ask to be seen, this one asks to be understood. Luxury has shifted from shine to sense-making, from display to discernment, from status loudness to pattern literacy. Tourmaline is already a marvel. Complex borosilicate lattices shaped in pegmatite veins, trace elements painting microscopic poems. But Liddicoatite, a rare calcium-rich tourmaline found primarily in Madagascar, is the anomaly that pushes mineralogy into philosophy. Growth rings like arboreal memory. Chromium and manganese shifting hue like seasons. Zoning lines so sharp they resemble cathedral windows, as though tectonic plates once paused so the planet could focus on beauty with intention. Some crystals terminate in perfect three-point symmetry, triangular prisms nobody carved, yet sculpted with mathematical reverence. This is not randomness, it is order with breath. Pattern as patience, earth as artisan. Ancient cultures worshipped geometry long before they worshipped gold. The triangle, symbol of creation, ascension, divine proportion, seen in temples, seen in mandalas, seen in cosmic diagrams carved before alphabets existed. Liddicoatite contains that shape not as idea, but as anatomy. In spiritual lore, stones that reveal structure were used not for wealth, but for contemplation, tools to observe time, fate, alignment. This gem does not ask to be worn, it invites one to sit, to hold silence, to witness order beneath chaos, to remember that beauty is not loud, it is exact. In a world returning to intellectual luxury, Liddicoatite stands at the vanguard. Not gem for ballrooms, not headline ornament, a study object, then a relic, then a prize. Collectors who pursue it are not chasing shine, they're selecting perspective. Quiet capital elites, design historians, mineral academics, museum patrons who buy not to be envied, but to curate meaning. Auction houses treat slices like paintings, cataloged beside masterworks, valued not in carats, but in thought. Modern prestige is knowing why a thing matters before anyone teaches you. Liddicoatite is luxury without audience, rewarding those who choose comprehension over applause. No flourish, no crescendo, only a slice, suspended, rotating slowly, patterns breathing, light catching, then fading. The voice does not close, it steps aside. Because some stones are not narrated, they are witnessed. Meaning does not arrive through noise. It arrives when nothing else remains. Silence. Cut to black. One thin ring of color lingers, then dissolves like a held breath released. These 10 stones do not redefine luxury because they shine brighter, but because they demand understanding. They belong not to those who want attention, but to those who value time, geology, culture, silence. The new luxury is not wealth on display, it is knowledge, rarity, stillness, and awe. A pause, low ambient breath of wind. If beauty, for you, is not noise, stay. More worlds wait beneath our feet. Silence settles. Stone fades into shadow. Only the echo of color remains, as if the earth just exhaled a secret. These were not jewels for display, but chapters of time, pressure, and probability. Miracles forged in silence. Treasures chosen by those who value knowing over showing. Luxury once meant brightness. Now it means discernment. Not the loudest light, the rarest story, because true wealth has shifted from ownership to understanding, from being seen to seeing deeply. So tell me, which of these stones spoke to you? The ones that burn like lightning, or the ones that breathe like prayer? Or was it the quietest gem, the one that asked nothing yet lingered longest? In the end, luxury isn't measured in price, carats, or reputation. Luxury is measured in the stillness you feel when something ancient recognizes you back. If this journey changed the way you see beauty, stay curious. There are more worlds beneath our feet than stars we have named in the sky. Until the next discovery, honor rarity, collect meaning, and walk gently through wonder.